Okay, Eric, so while I'm recording you, I want you to look right here at me, okay?
Like
so,
at your nose?
Yep, look at me, don't look at the camera.
Got it.
My favorite memory at St. Paul is hard to choose. There are definitely a lot of good ones.
I have a lot of favorite memories here at St. Paul.
I have two.
The first one was the first day I stepped foot in St. Paul as a visitor, and I never left.
Having my children baptized here when they were infants, and the second as a teacher, I would have to say kissing a frog.
One? I have to pick one?
What is my favorite memory?
This is such a difficult question because I've had so many wonderful moments at St. Paul. One instant, I would have to say it was when we took those shovels and put them in the ground to build this school. It was just an awesome event.
I had to kiss a frog when we had a fundraiser. The kids have voted me the winner, and they had a nice table set up, like I was kissing my prince. Hopefully. Yeah, so it was quite humorous.
You kissed a frog before you kissed Nate?
Probably so. Probably so.
My favorite memory here would probably be...
We were here, it was one of our first weeks, I think, and there was a barbecue, and so, like all millennials, we were like, free food, yes!
There was the barbecue for the induction of Pastor Don. Yes, Pastor Don.
And so we had to join, and you know, the side bonus was, I hope we meet people.
We sat up in the cafeteria up here, ate. We were actually thinking about going and like getting dessert and then about ready to leave.
I was like, are you getting ready to leave? Well, let's grab some dessert. I want some more macaroni and cheese. Never saying no to macaroni and cheese. We ended up getting a little bit more, and then people started coming over.
People came and just started sitting down and talking to us and introducing us to other people, and it was we ended up staying like an extra 40 minutes just talking to people, which was a very exciting thing to kind of be involved and brought into the community of the church here.
It was a moment where we just looked at each other without saying anything. We knew that we had found the place that we were going to worship every Sunday. It's just one of those moments where people really embraced us, and I don't know what we were expecting, but it wasn't something so immediate and something so impactful.
I just fell in love here at St. Paul. Everyone was so friendly, and I was really impressed with everybody and everything.
One of the things I like best is the Rock Eagle field trip that we take with the 4th and 5th grade every other year. We always have a lot of fun doing that.
That's a hard one. Maybe art, because I get to play with paint and make paint all over my hands.
Really?
And my teacher doesn't say I had to wash them.
My favorite memory is, well, for starters, I've got 3 young boys that go to St. Paul School, and I think my favorite memory is the day that all 3 of them came to school together for the first day of school, and they're all dressed in their chapel uniform, and you get to just see them as they're in these different stages of life, and just getting to watch how they grow with their faith in the school, and knowing that they're all in an environment together and growing together as brothers and family.
My favorite memory at St. Paul was when Joel and I got married there, and he invited me to attend St. Paul, to be a member of St. Paul actually. And we got married here, and that started the change in my life.
My favorite memory goes way back to 2001. Michael and I were here visiting Peachtree City, thinking about whether this would be a home for our family. We came to St. Paul because it was one of the few Lutheran churches and schools in an area where we were looking to relocate. And we came into the church service, and we were listening to the sermon, and it was very powerful. And the whole time that we were there, I'm thinking, God's leading us here. So in the prayers afterward, Michael and I are standing together, and I hear this voice and have this image of Jesus standing between the two of us with his arms around us. And he said, they will make room for you here. And they did. And I just knew in that time that this is where God wanted us to be. And it was very hard. It was our first move away from family, blood family, but we gained our church family. That is what St. Paul is to me.
My life is different because of St. Paul, considering it was the very first place I moved to on my own as an adult, and to be welcomed and completely become a part of the family here at St. Paul was a very special thing. So this was the first place that I lived away from home completely on my own.
Prior to St. Paul, I didn't really have a home church. My home church was back in Michigan. But through St. Paul, I did end up finding my home here. I just knew that there was something special about St. Paul.
St. Paul is our life. If we had moved here without becoming a part of St. Paul Lutheran Church and School, I would have been very lonely. I would have been a little lost individual for a long time. Moving from a place where you're content, and people go, "You're contented, Toledo?" I'm like, "Yeah, I was." Moving from a place where you are content to a place where you know no one is a very tough thing to do. Without St. Paul, I don't know what I would have done.
I have started my teaching career here. I have met my husband, gotten married, I have my children here, and now I teach one of them. It's like I've started a whole entire family here at St. Paul. Not just my immediate family, but everybody else as well. Impacted me a lot.
Being away from family, we're both from Illinois originally, it's really nice to be, I guess, part of the community here. And like there's a group of younger adults that have Bible study, and like we'll go and do trivia. Just being involved and brought along in that and able to hang out with other Christians our age that are going through similar things, either recently married or recently kids or still single, because we're all in that 20 to 30 age range. It's nice to have that fellowship, and I think that's really helped us be away from family and friends back home.
So I just love St. Paul. It's a part of my life. When I step foot into St. Paul, it's like everything's warm and cozy and the world is right. Top of the world.
Well, it seems to me like God has always been, the director, of course, of my life, and He has opened doors for me so that I would grow in the faith and knowledge of Him. So the first step was really St. Paul.
I work in manufacturing, and so kind of gritty and get your hands dirty a lot, and it's a different environment, and it can, because of how intense it is, it can make you kind of forget what's important, because there's always a sense of urgency. And coming to worship here and the community here and Pastor Don's messages here has really helped, I think, both of us, not just in our marriage, but in our work life and our home life, think a little bit differently, and being a lot more intentional about not just how we spend our time and how we speak to people, but how we think about the actions that we take, not just at home, but at work as well. It's really started to shape how we interact with people that aren't necessarily Christians at our place of work as well.
We've been able to grow together as a family, and we take these moments to just continue to talk about our faith and how it's important to us, and understanding that it's not something that you can just take for granted. It's something that you have to constantly work at and explore and look around you and just realize that there's so much of God's blessing that's out there, and this was something that really St. Paul helped to infuse within us.
I'm a widow now for 11 years, and God has continued to prune me during that time. I have grown tremendously. I am here mainly because of St. Paul, because I want to see it thrive. I want to see it grow. I want to see the sanctuary built, which was a dream of all of us here that started in the beginning.
I hope that St. Paul just explodes into our community and that we are that church that everyone loves to come to because they love to hear about Jesus.
We were welcomed here immediately, and we were embraced by the arms here, and I think and I know that that's going to continue to happen. So my hope would be that St. Paul just continues to grow its wingspan, I guess, to reach around the community in the way that it has embraced us in our first 4 or 5 months here.
I feel I'm called to be a part of it, and to me it's really an amazing thing that he would call me to be a part of this.
We have seen this history with ourselves. We have seen how we have overcome and we have worked together. And now I just see us right on that verge of taking what we have done and out into the community and really being impactful to these families, helping them to know that we are not just a facility for children, that we are a facility, a ministry that offers hope for marriages, a guide for those who are struggling with how are we going to make decisions, how are we going to, and a home for people who are coming in. We're such a transient area, and people are looking for those relationships, those foundations to build upon in this new place. And I hope that St. Paul will always be that kind of a place for people to feel like, okay, I may not be with my blood family, but this is my home.